I also want to talk about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys because I just got to admit I'm impressed. I mean, I know it's the preseason, but when we know that you got two all-world receivers, two number one receivers in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, they're bona fide number ones. You can't even deny or doubt that they're number one. They're both number one, and there's not a lot of teams that can brag about having two number ones. At one point, many moons ago, or many years ago, maybe 4 years ago, you could have said a healthy Mike Evans in Tampa Bay with a healthy Chris Godwin were two number ones, but really not at the level of this Pickens and CD. Mike Evans is at the level. Chris Godwin at his best, possibly, but not quite. You can say that Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are two number ones. However, Devontae Adams is just at his end of his prime if he's not already past his prime. Puka is in his prime, but kind of before his prime. You know, he's just in his third year. So he's kind of he hadn't even reached his prime yet, but he's right there on the cusp. And then Devontae is at the end of his prime or either past it. So they got two number ones, one a former number one is a current, but they not in their prime. The Cowboys got two receivers in their prime. That's a big deal. That means when you in your prime, like the reason why I pointed out Puka and Devontae is Devontae, with his age and how long he's been playing, he's A plus mentally as a receiver. But what the depreciating asset is your physicality and your physical attributes. You might get a step slower. You might be a little bit more injury prone. That means you might miss some ball games. Easily get nicked up. You might not recover as fast. You might have a game where you feeling really good and you catch 10 to 12 balls, and then you might have a game after that where you're not feeling all that good and you can't beat press coverage. You know what I mean? So it when you pass your prime, your body starts to fail you and do things for the first time that you're not used to. So that's why that's significant. When you're before your prime, like Puka, your body might be the A plus. It never fails you. You recover fast. You don't get injured and all that stuff. Your body not failing you, but you're still developing here. So you might not be an A plus mentally. With CD and George Pickens, I think they're both physically A pluses and mentally A pluses as far as how much of the game they know from as far as their position. I think they're both in their prime, number one A plus receivers all the way around. There's not a lot of teams that can boast that, but here's the thing about it. Then you got this quarterback in Dak, who's a Pro Bowl quarterback, and you can put him top 10 at the very worst. But sometimes Dak Prescott, the way he be throwing that pill around, he can really make you believe he's a top 5. His Dak has got that ability. You got the coach Schottenheimer. This is their second year with him. They got some O-line help. The running backs I'm not that in love with. Ferguson at tight end is good as well. And that's not even the end of it. The defense is actually coming along because I think that was a top offense last year, but a bottom feeding defense. And I think this defense is a little bit improved, and that helps the offense a lot. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make, or what I'm trying to talk about, is Dak Prescott, self-proclaiming and giving his offense the name of Gotti, which stands for greatest offense there is, which is interesting because greatest offense there is don't sound like greatest offense of all time. So let's go ahead and give that, we're not even going to challenge the greatest offense of all time. We're not going to challenge that. I don't think that's what he's saying, but saying the greatest offense there is means right now. Like it's their offense right now that's better. And the Dallas Cowboys can be in the running from that. I already mentioned the two receivers. I'm gonna get into the depth they got at receiver. I mean, because it just don't stop with those two number ones they got. But let's hear from Dak.
Yeah, I mean, as I just said, right, in year one and Shoddy and just the guys last year, a lot of times you have a lot of turnover, and we didn't have a lot of turnover or much turnover at all on our offensive side, right? We added some guys and some younger guys are going to have to step up. So, maybe we seasoned the group a little bit and guys are getting older, but we're close to some historic things last year. And when you have the guys that y'all have all just mentioned, whether it be the Tylers up front or it be George and CD outside, or like I said, Ferg and Flo, and you almost call them the alternate guys because the other guys' names are so big, right? Why can't we be, and just, let's be the greatest offense there is. You've heard the greatest show on turf and all the other different nicknames. And so just in our trip in Utah, something I guess I thought about in the time leading up to that and just kind of presented it to the guys in our trip. And each and every one of them, loved it or taking pride in it. And that's as cool as anything, is to watch them take pride in it and watch them talk about it and say it to each other. And it's the way that we've been practicing. We're just going to keep pushing each other.
So, I mean, he's not lying. I mean, George Pick. I think CD was hurt a little bit, but even with him being hurt, George Pickens was supposed to be the number 2 receiver. He give you 1,200 yards. Your running back give you 1,200 yards. Dak throws for 4,500 yards. Like, this offense was really almost scoring 30 points a game. That was almost scoring 30 points a game, man. They wasn't playing. They were not playing. It was just the defense failed them. The defense failed them, man. That's, yeah, and like Dak said, man, they was putting up some numbers that was close to historic, right? I mean, Dak throwing for 4,500 without both his receivers, but they got a receiver that I seen in the preseason, Camden. Is it Camden Brown? Number 6, their receiver. I don't even know if he, like, because if Flonery, he had about 40 catches last year, about 500 yards. Like, this is insane. Like, he had about 5 or 6 touchdowns. He had a game where he had 9 catches, 115 yards against Detroit last year. Like, he's their number 3. So you got a very capable receiver at number 3. And then I'm looking at your preseason and I see this rookie that was undrafted, but this dude caught a touchdown in both preseason games already. I think he caught 2 in one game, 2 in game 1, 1 in game 2. I'm not going to say he looks unguardable, but he looks damn, and he got some hands. So you got this guy, and then you got Valdez Scantling, who was speed, who was a starting receiver with Aaron Rodgers 3-4 years ago. Picture that. Picture Aaron Rodgers relying on Valdez Scantling, and Dak get to bring him off the bench if he need him. So you got Valdez Scantling, and then you had Jonathan Mingo. I think the Panthers drafted him a while back. He didn't pan out, but he burnt. He smoked somebody so crazy in the preseason for a touchdown. Like, Mingo, he's always been a physical specimen. So you got Mingo, you got Valdez Scantling, and you got Camden Brown. I like all 3 of those guys. So you got about 6. You got 6 receivers in rotation that are capable, right? Hey, he might got a point, but he may have also put a target on his back. Like, you can't come out here and say something like that and not think that people will be like, okay, yeah, we go show y'all. So they could have stayed under the radar and not said something like that, and just because I don't think no one from the Rams camp, when they had the greatest show on turf, number one, the Rams didn't give themselves that name, and the Rams quarterback didn't give them that name. That name came to them after we seen half a season. and was like, "This is the greatest show on turf, man." Like, good gracious, you got Marshall Faulk, who was probably one of the best running backs of this era. I mean, what we see CMC do or Kamara and all this stuff, like, being able to be a every down back as a runner, but also out of the backfield catching, and so well at catching the ball that we actually might flanker you out and run some routes, and you do that well. Like Marshall Faulk was like one of the first prototype. He was one of the first guys that was making that a real possibility for running backs to do. And he was doing this when he was with Peyton Manning with the Colts. When Peyton Manning was throwing interception after interception, Marshall Faulk was his guy, his safety blanket. That was the first time I was like, dang, running backs can do that. Marshall Faulk had 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. That's something that's possible. He did that with the Colts. Then he went to the greatest show on turf, and you got Kurt Warner. But then on top of that, you got Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. And then you put Isaac Akeem in the slot, right? So from that standpoint, they didn't self-proclaim themselves the greatest show on turf. They came out, showed it, proved it, and then the outsiders gave them that nickname, and they ran with it. But, giving yourself that nickname, that's tough. That's real tough, man. That's real tough. I wouldn't do it. But let's see if they can back it up. They got a defense. They seem to be a whole lot happier with their situation at head coach. I haven't seen much or heard much from Jerry, so maybe Jerry might keep his nose out of everything. We'll see how this goes with the Cowboys, but I got to be honest. I want to see it. I'm excited about it. Can't lie to you about that.